There are no such things as limits or obstacles, only opportunities. Step into the greatest version of yourself because what you do matters. Shift your narrative. You're listening to Opportunity Makers, where entrepreneurs come to take their purpose-driven business to the next level. Here's your host, Jim Padilla.
Hey, Opportunity Makers. Welcome back. I have an episode today for you that I'm really excited and honored to be able to bring to you. You probably get tired of hearing me say that because I'm honored and amazed to be able to bring all of the experts that I'm bringing to you. They're all world-class experts without exception. They've all been exponential entrepreneurs. They've exited companies. They've acquired companies. They've done things that just put in a different position to look at the world around them. See, when you do things and you accomplish and overcome, does not matter the size, you start building confidence and believability, credibility with yourself. And that's what happens on the inside is what then starts allowing to come out and gives you that confidence necessary to show up with a level of certainty that just attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the right things into your world. And that's what this Opportunity Makers podcast and movement we're creating is all about. Putting the can do, the I got this, no matter what, I'm going to go kick ass and take names and dominate the world, right? My badassery has no limits. You're kind of a big deal, you know? You are the cure for what ails people out there. There are people on their knees praying for you right now. And the last place that you can be is pulling back and worrying about what's going on in the world. I want to inspire you and encourage you to be the person on the leading edge of that, who is leaning into the problems, AKA opportunities that are literally all around you, so that other people know exactly where to go to get the solutions and get the hope that they're looking for. And my guest today is somebody who just embodies that in such amazing ways. She's somebody who we did some business with a few years ago. She was a client, and she's somebody who has really impacted me personally, just through our relationship, through how she shows up, her level of excellence and elegance and professionalism, and one of a kind ism. She's all about excellence and showing up as the person, as the one, as the solution, and helping others do the same. So we worked together for a while. She is a leading luxury brand strategist for iconic personal brands. She represents some of the most exciting personal brands in the world to help them achieve iconic status and create their empire. Right. There are some things that she dropped some bombs in this discussion. One that, keep showing up and being brave. Right. That's one of the greatest assets for successful people. Opportunities come to the people who exude certainty. And that's something I stand on and believe wholeheartedly. And I want you to grab that as well. So please dive in, take notes mentally or otherwise, because you will absolutely love this conversation. You're going to love this woman and who she is about. Please welcome and we introduce you to Kathryn Porritt. Enjoy the conversation. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe, get into the show notes, because we've always got prizes and things in there for you that we want you to be able to take advantage of, and you'll be able to take action on getting into Kathryn's world. We'll see you soon. Awesome, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Opportunity Makers podcast. We're so excited to have you on the journey where we are freeing you from fear, doubt, uncertainty, and showing you all the possibilities that exist, whether you're somebody who is already living in the land of opportunity creation or somebody who is feeling really called to be stepping in. We want to be your co-pilot and your navigator on this journey so that you can step up, because when we know that when we are in our full measure of creating opportunities, which means we're solving problems for the world's going to change. We to become the ones making the difference. We're not relying on corporate. We're not relying on Wall Street. We're not relying on the politicians in the White House or any other government. We're the ones taking control and bringing solutions to the world and turning things around so that we can make things happen. So we just heard the formal introduction of Kathryn Porritt, but Kathryn, why don't you introduce yourself in your own words? Show people why you're here.
Jim, thank you so much for having me. I just have so much respect and love for you and everything that you've achieved and everything that you're heading towards. That it's just an absolute distinct honor to be here and to speak with your audience. So, who am I? You can hear the Australian accent. I had a very large e-commerce company here in Australia as my backstory, one of the largest women's lifestyle stores in the country. And I sold that after 9.5 years. That was 17 years ago. I know that because I started it when I was on maternity leave with my first baby, Penny, who is now 17. And so I took that experience of exiting that company and really took a moment to reflect on what did I want to do in my second career. I didn't want to sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais. I really wanted to create something that was quite significant and joyful and filled with passion. And when it came down to it, what I really, really love is I really love supporting extraordinary people to help them bring their vision to life. And so I effectively, without really thinking about it at the time in terms of a strategic sort of organizational structure, I started what became a portfolio of clients that I support from a personal brand perspective. And the thing that distinguishes me as an agent or a representative in the market versus what most others do is that we work on a luxury brand strategy. So what that means is most of my clients are incredibly good at what they do, and so we skip the line. There's none of this nonsense around, needing to run a mainstream strategy. What we do is we go straight for the top, and we aim for really big numbers and really big deals. And so I'm having the time of my life. I'm representing some really cool people, creating some really cool concepts right now, and I'm just having a ball. There's so much opportunity in the market, which is why I'm so happy to be here and share that with everyone to show. I think to show the world that we don't need to listen to that mainstream media nonsense. Really, when you do things in an innovative way, there is an enormous market potential. And I think Jim and I both show that.
Amen. Amen. And for those who are watching on the video, it's relevant. I want to share this because you can see that Kathryn she's a beautiful, successful, intelligent woman, and she embodies what she does. And she's had a permanent impact on me, and I've shared this with her before because she's a former client. She retained our services at the outsourced sales component, and when we first started talking, we spent about 6 months dialoguing before we pulled the trigger to work together. And everything about her just embodied excellence. Just her image is very simple. She's not overstated. She's not overproduced. She's authentic, but with intention, right? She puts forth a very specific intentional brand. And it always made me feel like, we make a lot of money. Clients pay us a lot of money. And when I looked at her, and she's again an authority brand, a luxury brand, I felt everything about her says, yeah, I can give you a lot of money and trust that you can handle it. And so it put that impression upon me. It's like, I want to make sure that I always show up in a way that somebody can say, yes, I feel good spending the amount of money I'm spending with you because you look the part, you represent the brand, and I feel like I can trust you based on that. And that's part of being an opportunity maker. It's like showing up as the mission, showing up as the anchor of the movement and of the problem that you're solving. So when people look at you, go, yep, that's it.
I am so grateful to you for saying that. It's one of the loveliest compliments that I've ever had, Jim, and it's reflected to me in so many ways by so many other people. But the way that you articulate that is just so beautiful. And if anyone ever questions the idea of why brand and why is brand necessary, because there's a lot of people out in the marketplace who say you can launch without a brand, you don't need a good website, doesn't matter if your Facebook feed looks like rubbish, you can dance around on TikTok and it doesn't matter about consistency. I would say that's totally true for the mainstream, but if you really want to build, as the term you used, an authority brand in the market, if you really want to be an iconic brand, as we would say, you need to have some personal style. You need to have an articulation of excellence. You need to be world class, and you need to care about the way that you show up. So it is it's one of those things that I spend a lot of time on with my clients, and it makes a really vast difference to the sorts of deals that they can achieve.
Amen and amen. So let's talk a little bit about opportunity creation, opportunity making. And you are somebody who is you're the connective tissue for a lot of people's success. And so by definition, you are launching opportunity makers who are creating opportunities for others. So the goal is to create an endless cycle of people who are teaching other people how to also create opportunities so that they can win. How do you just see that as not only a role you play, but a responsibility that you have?
That's a really good question. I don't necessarily see it as a responsibility. That feels very heavy. But I definitely think that there is a difference in the way that I show up with this career as opposed to my first one. So the first business that I created was all very frenetic and hectic, and it was all very volume based. And I was really looking, when I look back at it, I was looking for the external validation from the market that this girl knows what she's doing, she's good at what she's, the awards, the media, the books, the things, right, was all really based on this. Was really ego based, if I'm honest about it, and it solidified me in the market in terms of, yes, she does know what she's doing. When I created this one, I think I've become, and certainly in my 40s, I've become much more mature in my attitude, and there is an angle to this that is about significance. I've taken a really good hard look at myself and realized that I'm never going to retire. I'm never going to be that person who's going to, down tools and sit on the beach drinking Mai Tais. I'm going to be that person who is going to add value to the world in even the smallest way throughout my entire existence, because it's the way that I'm just driven. And so I can either use that ambition and that that sort of innate sense of competitive edge for good or for self-serving purposes. And so I've made the very distinct and precise and intentional decision from here on in that what I'm doing is for impact. And of course, it's for building wealth for my family. Of course it is. And of course, it's for building wealth for my clients. Of course it is. But on top of that, the people that I choose to connect with, to co-create with, to represent in the market, they all have something really exciting that they want to bring to the world. They all want to impact the world in some different way. They all want to create a legacy. And so I feel like, not that it's my responsibility, but that this is the thing that I can bring to the world from an impact perspective that is going to be the most significant change that I can make in my lifetime with the skills and the gifts that I've been given, is to play things this way and use those skills in a way that really creates significant impact from here. And I hope my children and my family and my clients' children and families are all very proud of what we've been able to create off the back of the work that we do together.
I get a lot of interesting responses around this, but as somebody who is in the forefront, we'll say the forefront of business, you're leading a lot of people. And do you ever feel like opportunities that bypass, you ever look back and go, man, I wish I would have taken advantage of that one, or darn, I wish somehow I missed that opportunity, but I won't miss the next one. Is there any specific example or story you share around any of that?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking only recently, way back when I was at university, I had an opportunity to move to. So I'm in Australia, though most of my clients are in North America now. I went to university here in Australia, and I did very well. And I had a lot of offers, and with what I wanted to do with my career, and where I made a decision to actually stay in the local area and work for what is a shopping mall, you would call a shopping mall, which really catapulted my career into sales and marketing and brand and community and those sorts of things. But I was offered a really big opportunity to join a very large PR firm in Sydney. And I really, for whatever reason, didn't want to leave where I am, which is in Queensland, best part of the world, to move to Sydney and take up that opportunity. I was only thinking the other day, gee, I wonder what would have happened if I'd gone to Sydney rather than doing what I did, what the pathway might have looked like. But look, I think I'm accepting of, we make the best decisions that we can in the moments with the information that we have, and I don't regret anything. I've obviously not. It's not been a linear, fabulous journey. There's been lots of risk and failures along the way, and I wouldn't give up any of that for anything. I think it's made me who I am, and I'm better at what I do because of all of those things.
It's so interesting because that is a very consistent answer when I ask similar questions like that to anybody who I consider an opportunity maker, because they're everywhere. It's like you might miss one, and if you just stay open to them, the next one's right around the corner, if not right in front of you already. Right. And make the best decisions in the moment with the information that you can. You can always make another decision tomorrow. Cindy says that all the time. It's like
100%.
That's
and if you're open, if your eyes are wide open, I mean, there'll be endless opportunities. So it's okay. It's cool.
So what about being in a time like right now where there's, you pick whatever word you want, recession, inflation, retracting market, there's all kinds of labels for it. Bottom line is gas is a lot, eggs are a lot. Life is very peculiar at the moment. What would you recommend to people in terms of staying available to the opportunities that come, even though you may be concerned about saving money and not risking?
Yeah, I really feel for people who are struggling right now, and there's no, it's a sad time for many, many people in the world. Having said that, I would say that there are a lot of people who are not hurting, and there are a lot of people who are seeing a moment like this as the most exciting opportunity that ever existed. There is this incredible space that's being held right now for people who are open to taking a bit of a risk and being incredibly innovative, and being very maverick in their approach to things and not being put in a box or a hole. I've, for the last 4 or 5 years while I've been running this business, have been very focused on a luxury business strategy and working particularly on deals with ultra high net worth individuals or companies that really deal in that luxury part of the market. And right now, Jim, that industry is booming. People who are, worth a significant amount of money, yes, they're taking a little bit more time to make decisions, and potentially they may not have as much money liquid because they've got it in various different places. But ultimately, that part of the market is investing, they're hiring, they're growing, they're looking at, this whole moment as a significant opportunity. And I suppose you can either throw stones at them and say how opportunistic and awful and capitalist and all of those things, or you can say these are the people who are actually going to be the change makers over the next 5 to 10 years. I put my bet on some pretty exciting things coming out of this moment. And so for me, I think really be open to doing things differently, seeing the world differently. Obviously we need to be observant and we need to be educated about what's going on with the economy and politics and all of those things. But equally, don't go down that rabbit hole and then fall into the trap of it's doom and gloom and there's no opportunity. Because I can tell you, I have clients that are, that have a lot of money. And right now they are spending, they are hiring, they are growing. And so am I. And I know you are as well. There are opportunities everywhere. If you look at this outside of the box and you see it as a time for change and a time for innovation and a time to take a level of risk, the level of risk that you feel comfortable with. I'd push that a little bit, push it a little bit up into we call it the vomitometer. How how much fear can you take on? Just push the vomitometer just a little bit to that uncomfortable stage.
Yes. And you say it with such simplicity. Sometimes I know I frustrate people because I spend a lot of time with very successful people like yourself.
Yeah.
And, I'm a leader and a mentor and a role model to many. And a lot of times they give feedback like, well, yeah, it's easy for you to say, but you have resources. I can't be as risk taking. I'm like, I just disagree. It is so simple to create opportunity as long as you have a mindset and a belief that opportunity is everywhere and that you are a solution to many problems. How would you guide people to determine, how do they make a decision about which opportunities to take advantage of?
Good question. I think it's very important to have someone in your corner, if not multiple people in your corner, who can see a bigger play than you can. I think that's a significant part of the success that I've had is always investing in great mentors, whether they are people like, you and I have that kind of relationship. I enjoy the conversations that we have, and I've got a peer group like that I can always come to with an opportunity that I trust, who has, experience beyond mine and who can see things differently to me. I think number one, focus on that, get your network and your peer group really well honed, and don't listen to, let alone hang around with, if you can help it, people who can't see the bigness in you. That would be a really big part of it. The second, because if people are going to drag you down, then obviously you're going to miss significant opportunities that are right in front of you, because you'll be, oh, can I do it? Is the market, all that stuff? Just lose that BS. I would say the other piece is then also invest in great mentors. So people, great strategists, great mentors, great people who can look at you, see the bigness in you, and then allow you to, or expand the vision of possibility for you. Because sometimes we can't see what's just sitting in front of our face, and that's okay. But as long as you are brave enough to really own your genius, and you're brave enough to really say, you know what, I'm good enough to take this on. I want abundance. I am here to take advantage of opportunities and change the world in the most significant way. Then if you've got a good team of people around you who can expand the vision of possibilities and help you execute that and keep you on track, I think the world is your oyster. Yeah, really lots of opportunity right now, that's for sure.
Definitely. Something that's been coming a lot more available. And once you start experiencing success, and I will change that. Let me phrase that. Once you start presenting the image of someone who is experiencing success, opportunities start coming, because people feel confident that you can help them with their opportunities. And I've become a bit of an opportunity magnet, because I'm looking for them all the time. I believe they're everywhere, so they just show up. But I have also learned that you don't have to be the expert of anything in order to capitalize on an opportunity.
Yep.
Do you have any examples of that you would like to share?
Yes. And can I just dig into something that you just said that I think is really masterful? And that is that opportunities come to people who have certainty. You and I exude a level of certainty in what we can create, and you can trust us. We do a really good job. We're world class. It's just, you could take one look at us and know that that is the case. And so I think beyond confidence, there is this level of certainty that a person who is an opportunity maker really brings to the world. And that's very mesmerizing. And quite magnetic for lots of incredible opportunities. So I just wanted to dig into that, because I think that was a really cool thing that you just said.
Thank you.
And so in terms of the opportunities that are around at the moment, I think they're everywhere, Jim. I'm really excited about. I'm really excited for a lot of the people that I'm working with. They're really looking at the technology piece at the moment. They're looking at social media. They're looking at content creation. They're looking at the way that media is becoming fragmented, and it's not being advertising is becoming fragmented. The whole media space, everything is becoming an opportunity for me at the moment, where if you've ever had an innovative idea on how to shift a paradigm or an industry standard or a norm, I think now is the time to get that extreme pioneering hat on and kind of go for it, because the weirdest, the wackiest, the most innovative, the craziest ideas are probably the ones that are going to make it right now. And I would also say that a lot of my clients are also harking back to the old-fashioned way of doing things, and that is feeling quite innovative and quite different. And the old-fashioned way of outbound sales, for example, to me, that's how I've always sold. That's how I feel the most comfortable. And yet it's like this new thing that everyone's discovering. Like, man, my dad did this when he left university. He was a on the road salesman for a sellotape company, for crying out loud. I mean, that's the way that sales used to be. And so I feel like there's also this piece where there's a bit of tradition that's seeping back in, and I feel like there's lots of opportunities there if you can really harness that and do it in a really exciting way as well.
Yeah. And something that I've been in discussion with a lot of people about lately is, first, you can look at what problem can I solve and jump in and solve it. But to get beyond that quickly is, what problem can I facilitate? Right. Because there's, Cindy and I were coming home from store the other day, and we pulled up and there was a pickup truck that had, I think I shared this on the last interview as well, but there was a pickup truck it was full of wood. Like they had just gone and cut some wood. And we used to have to do that stuff when I was a kid. My stepdad would drag us up into the foothills and we'd chainsaw and haul stuff down. As a teenager, you hate that stuff. But as an entrepreneur, I'm like, if I had to right now, if everything, I could literally get a truck, get a chainsaw, get a splitter, go up in the foothills, cut up some trees that are down, split them up, and start selling wood. And I wouldn't even have to be the one doing it. I could facilitate it and put somebody else in charge of it. So then now I can get as much wood as I can, because I'm doing it through other people. All of a sudden, I have a revenue stream that isn't even requiring my efforts, right? Same thing with the pressure washer, right? You want to do my driveways across the street. You want to pressure wash somebody's driveways, go pre-sell a few deals. You don't even have to fund it your own self. Go find a few people who will prepay you for the deal, go buy or rent a pressure washer, and then go do their driveways, and then hire somebody else to do the same. So again, now these things are happening and you're making revenue without you having to be the one that's putting out all of the effort.
Yeah, right? I'm so with you.
Opportunities are everywhere. You just
they really
you
are.
just got to see them and go seize it.
Right, exactly. And take just actually go and do it. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most genius. You don't have to be the most well-funded. There's so many stories of great companies that are like that. Richard Branson is a really good example of that. And I was talking to one of my clients who's actually very well connected to him yesterday, and they were at a lunch where Branson was doing this big multi-billion-dollar deal, and he kept having to excuse himself to go and do some negotiating, but he was just giving the yes and no on the phone and then coming back to the table. But he reflected, and I think it is another public quote, there's something like this out there that he said as well, but it was reflected as he sat back down, that he is not the genius of negotiation. He's not the most genius person in his company. He's not the most intelligent, well-educated, all of the most articulate. He just keeps showing up no matter what. And he has the risk profile of being brave. Just keep showing up, be brave, and then hire great people and solve really exciting problems. So I think there's probably no better person in the world to confirm or validate what you were just saying than the incredible Sir Richard Branson, right?
Yes, agreed. So, just let's zero this in a little bit more on you. And obviously you're working with more affluent, wealthy clients. people who are making exponential change in the world. What encouragement would you give to people who are listening? Because this particular podcast is speaking to those people, and people who are aspiring to be. What would you say to those people that feel like that might be a far off outcome for them? And what encouragement would you give them in this time right now to be able to lean in?
Yeah, well, I would say that almost without fail, all me and all of my clients didn't start with privilege. I come from a very middle class family in a very small part of Australia. And here I am representing some of the biggest personal brands in the world. And I do it, on Zoom and doing really big deals for them. I mean, and a lot of my clients, even the ones that are now worth a lot of money because of the things that they've been able to achieve in their career and the deals that we've been able to put together for them, they didn't start that way. So, but they were brave enough to really understand what they're best in the world at, and then have the wherewithal to then go, okay, you know what? I've got this incredible genius within. I need to hire a team around me to take me to that next level. I need to be connected to the right people, and they're willing to do the work. They're brave enough to take that big step. And every single one of them, I would say without fail, they are very confident, very certain about their genius. That is a common trait. They constantly work on their mastery so that they are constantly world class. They don't rest on something that they've done 10 or 15 years ago and then, continue to leverage that. They're just really working on that mastery. I would also say the other thing that they're doing is that they, like we were just talking about with Branson, they keep showing up. So they're very, very hard workers. You can't just sit there and stare at your navel and manifest a multi-million-dollar contract. It just doesn't happen. I know there are people out there telling you that you can manifest all sorts of wonderful things. But if you really look at the businesses, and I represent some of the biggest people in the consciousness space in the world, they are really works. And so I would say as long as you are willing to accept your genius, you're willing to put some great people around you who can help, the best that you can afford. And that could just be courses or listening to this and being really inspired by great people that Jim's bringing along for the ride here. Be inspired by that and do the hard work. Don't sit around expecting to be 15 years into your career and have a multi-billion-dollar business without putting the legwork in. Because all of those people who have had the magical outcomes, they've done that. They've started from the ground up. And so just know that all of that is within your grasp. I truly believe every single person on the planet can choose that if they want to. They just can. But the hardest thing is to keep doing it. There's lots of people who have great ideas, but there's very few people who will continue to walk through the mud and execute it to the point that they end up with a multi-billion-dollar company. That's rare.
So you are somebody who, we would call a global business leader, which I consider myself as well. What are you seeing as the differences? Like, does this only work in Australia or North America, or what's the difference? Or more importantly, what's the common thread? Doesn't matter where they are. If you're a human being and you have these traits, you can make it happen. What do you see those commonalities?
Yeah, it's funny because when I first started this business, I didn't try to set myself up where I was an Australian working, with a lot of clients in North America. I happened to go to a retreat to try and figure out what I wanted to do after I exited my company, met some great people who became my first clients, and they all happened to be, living in North America. And so this global company came to pass. I have clients now all over the world, in the Middle East, in Europe, in Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and of course, North America. Don't have any in South America at the moment, but have done. And look, there is no difference between any of us, really. There's just, everyone can do this. I think it kind of helps if you come from a smaller place. Here's two things, Jim, that I think are interesting. I think it's played well for me that I've had to work harder to become successful because I come from a smaller country. So Australia is a vast country, but we're very small. We have the same sort of population as the entirety of California. And we are very small in terms of market and opportunity and those sorts of things. So I have to work really hard to be a success here. And then to take that to the global stage, I think we become more innovative and creative. I've got no doubt that's why we're, really good actors and all of those sorts of things, great musicians, etc. So I have to work hard. And I think that plays well for those of you who are a little bit concerned about, well, maybe I'm not from North America, or I'm not from the UK, or I'm not from Canada. I don't have the same, level of opportunity. Well, I tell you what, it can play to your advantage that you've had to work harder and you come from a place that has smaller opportunities. And I think on the flip side of that, what I love about all of my clients that come from, where there is the land of opportunity, I would call that sort of Europe and the UK and Canada and America. There's this absolute acceptance of risk profile. You love people trying stuff and then failing. I think that's extraordinary. You just grow up thinking that it's okay to go out there and give stuff a go. And there's so much opportunity to do it again and again and again. And I think, again, that mindset that is baked into the culture is just incredible for the rest of us to really lean into and learn from. So the answer to your question is anyone, anywhere, with any background can have opportunities in front of them. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, and to carry that even further, I mean, you talk often about not just being best in class, but being a class of one, right? Being the person who does what you do. And, you don't have to be first to market to become best in class or to be that iconic class of one person. What do you need to have to make that happen?
Absolutely. I think you have to have that incredible inner confidence. And I often, this is controversial, and I know I'm going to upset some people by saying this, but I truly believe that you almost need to be arrogant. You need to have such certainty. I'm being incredibly intentional in the use of that word, because if I just said you need to have confidence, I mean, we can all turn up on, any given day and have confidence. I'm talking about like a quality that you are the thing, right? And it doesn't have to be this great big thing. As you were just talking about before, it can be the smallest, tiniest little niche of something or other. But you need to own it and embody it. And then there's a magnetic quality to people who, it's that charisma, that Clooney charisma comes from just this absolute certainty in that mastery and the knowingness that you are genius, that you've been called upon, with this, whatever it is, and that you're putting the time and the energy into mastering it on a day-to-day basis, and that you're going to constantly be that world-class figure. I think that really is the key. So that arrogance, that kind of, you walk in any room and all eyes are on you. And a lot of people say you can't teach that, that's innate. I disagree.
Right.
I think as long as you understand, it's getting to the identification of what that thing is, that is the key here. And if you need to work with someone to enable you to see what you can't see, then by all means do that. But once you do it, own it, embody it, turn up that way. I tell you what, the reason that you've got opportunities coming at you and you don't, like, there's so many of them right now, is because you're showing up that way. And that it is all about that. There is a knowingness, there's a mastery, there's a world-class attitude, and there's an almost arrogance. Drop the humble at the door. Don't pretend you're not brilliant at what you do. Own it, embody it, and then all sorts of amazing things will start to happen.
Yeah, I love that. Drop the humble at the door. That's going to be a quote.
Gone.
I have this sign here that I have in front of me every
Yeah.
day, because my badassery has no limits. And,
Yeah. Love it.
I believe it, but I also, I look at it every day. It's a constant reminder, because
Yep.
they don't. The moment the only limits, somebody said this to me once and I've never forgotten. It said, every ceiling you've ever been under in your entire life, you've placed yourself there.
Mhm.
Nobody has ever
completely.
put a ceiling onto you. If you walked into a room, into a building, and a roof, with every single roof that's been over you, you walked under. So you can easily walk out from under. There are no ceilings except the ones you decide.
100%. Oh, I love that so much. And oftentimes you're putting that ceiling there because you're chasing external validation, right?
Yep.
And so if you can learn how to do whatever work you have to do to remove that roadblock, and then really believe in the genius and own it and embody it, everything's possible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah.
So, we got all of your information, guys. Go in the show notes, and there's all the ways to contact with Kathryn and her team. Is there anything that you have that you want to share as a resource or an invitation for people to get a little deeper into your world?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of great things over at our website that will help you to get into that mindset of, what am I really best in the world at? So I would say head on over there. We've got a couple of places that you can go. You can go to iconicinfluencers.com. So iconicinfluencers.com is our main website, and there's all sorts of resources on there that will really help. And then there's the kathrynporritt.com website also that has a number of things on there, but it's more my playground. So I have another brand that we're just launching called Luxissima that's all about personal style. And so there's some fun things on there that you'll see to get to know me a little bit better if you're interested in sort of playing in that world where we're talking about luxury, personal style branding, those sorts of things. All sorts of goodies there on both those sites.
Excellent. So go there, go to the show notes. If you're driving or if you're on the treadmill, whatever, it's all in the show notes. Get in there, click on it. But the only thing I will encourage you is take action. Go check it out. It may or may not be for you, but at least you'll find out. It costs you nothing to take a look, and it could cost you everything not to. So you want to surround yourself. I'm trying to bring you consistently people who have proven that there's another way to live a life. And so these aren't people who are hoping to do it someday. Everybody that I'm bringing to you are people who are doing it or have done it. And so we just want to inspire you with hope and show you that no matter what weaknesses, what deficiencies, or what the media or the world is saying, opportunity is yours. You just need to go take it. So thank you for being here, Kathryn. I really appreciate you sharing all of your excellence and elegance with us. And everybody, appreciate you for trusting me, as always, to be part of your success team. Let's roll. Go make opportunities happen. Change the life of the people around you. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Opportunity Makers. Head on over to gaintheedgenow.com to connect with Jim and his team. And remember, there's no such thing as limits or obstacles, only opportunities.